Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be speaking to you today.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
Obviously, The Witcher Season 3, hotly anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
The stakes are even higher, I think, than in the previous two seasons. Maybe you can just give us a glimpse of what fans can expect more generally, but specifically for your characters. Let's start.
For Sabrina, I think you're going to see her more confident than ever, more catty, more provocative, a bit of a seductress at times. And then also you're going to see her break a little bit as well, which, are life-threatening situations and the consequences of other people's actions and her own actions. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I think the whole season is sort of really exploring family and tribes coming together and alliances being formed, and then also betrayals of those bonds, which have excruciating consequences, really.
Yeah, political warfare.
Yeah. So, high stakes.
High stakes.
And I think for my character, I was saying earlier that, to say I think we find her at a place where she feels like she's relatively confident in the very, very fine tightrope that she constantly is walking in terms of holding the political alliances together around the Brotherhood and Aretusa and the kingdoms and chaos, and upholding and protecting that, and also her novices and wards, if you will, feeling confident that she's balancing that quite well, and then sort of realizing how she may have got something very, very seriously wrong.
Yeah.
And, what is it about The Witcher and this kind of world that's created, and it's so rich, I guess, because it's also based on the books, that's kept people hooked all the way through. What do you think the appeal is? And I guess because it's this great balance of, these sort of epic battles and things going on at big level, but then there's also all this, intense character development and these familial relationships and dynamics. What is it that's so great about the show?
Gosh, difficult question.
You said it really well.
I know.
It's actually, I think it's exactly that, isn't it? It's the juxtaposition of, this huge epic sort of scenes with, like you say, these really personal stories and interlinking relationships and personal evolution of characters.
Yeah.
Which is really intoxicating, and it sort of keeps you coming back, and it makes things relatable in a way. The larger sort of battles that you're talking about in political alliances and tentative alliances are sort of reflective of our world that we see around us every day, but we get to see that this time through the series in a fantasy setting. And then the familial and the personal evolutions, again, are reflective of things that we go through in our own life, and like we were saying, what's really cool in this season, exploring family. It's not conventional family. It's family that you choose. It's those kind of tribes that we form around us, and all of us form around us. And actually, that's the reality of how all of us live our lives. We
choose our family.
Yeah, we have family that we're born into, but we also have family that we choose, and the journey of finding that family it's a wonderful one. And I think, again, we see it reflected in this fantasy world, and it brings us along on a ride.
And I think there's just a magic of fantasy, all the work that goes into those sets, like the world that it creates. I think that's something that's so intriguing and encapsulating. You want to know more about this world. You want to know more about the continent. So I think that's something that hooks people into.
I think you're totally right. You sort of realise in cosplay sort of arenas as well, we see how those costumes are really being taken on by fans and being affecting them and moving them and exciting them, and it's really moving and exciting for us to see it
100%
happen around us. But that's really the world of The Witcher that Lauren and all of the teams have built up. They're just extraordinarily impressive.
And in that sense, what is it like being on these sets and in these costumes? And, do you have a favourite moment? I think I read that Henry one day went home in all his get-up. I don't know if you ever did that.
Did he? Oh, my gosh. No, I want to get out of my get-up. I love it. So basically, my favourite thing is I turn up to work, I get put in my costume, I get my hair and makeup done, and then I walk onto those sets, and I'm in another world. I don't, basically 80% of my work is done. That's it. I just need to know my lines. And everyone's like, do you find it hard? I'm like, no, not when you have that kind of creative support around you either. But at the end of the day, I want to take it off. I do not want to carry it with me. I
feel like...
Do you want to take it
Well,
with you?
maybe, yeah. I feel like, well, there was that time that they did my hair and makeup and my costume, and I cried.
And you cried, yes, I remember.
Yeah, I
but it was. But I think
cried.
all of us cried because it was really emotional. Because you were
Yeah.
like, she's so beautiful. She was.
It
like
was
it
the
was,
most,
yeah.
it was the prettiest I've ever felt in my whole entire life.
Yeah, I remember.
And I
that
just
day.
remember crying, and that was, I never wanted to take it off.
Yeah, I remember.
I was so excited at 4 a.m. in the morning to get to work and have my face done.
So
have
cool.
my hair
You
done.
should see, and like lots of the girls would sit with with guys as well. Sorry, what am I saying? But like everyone would sit with these like little eye masks.
Eye masks.
Under. You know, so they're like little slugs that sit under your eye, and you'd walk in the morning and be like, morning, oh, it's like, it's I get what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of time, but thank you so much for sharing all that with me.
No,
I
it's a
can't wait for
pleasure.
Vanessa to get